What's going on, y'all? It's TCG here, back again with another video, and today I got another Is It Worth It? That's going to be for the Three Brothers Ultimate deck coming out this Friday. If you didn't check out yesterday's Market Watch, definitely go check that out. I'll have a link above my head as well in the description below. Also, if you like this kind of content, make sure to give it a like and subscribe as well. We're at like an 80% not subscribed rate. That would really help me out a lot, and if you like it, it shows it to more people, which I really appreciate. So let's go ahead and jump into this. So if you don't know about this deck, it's another ultimate deck what comes all foiled out cards, as well as 3 different leaders to give you really an abundance of options for playstyle and playability. Now, are all these cards great? No. And I will give you my real opinion on this deck later into the video, and we'll get into is this worth it. But first, before we jump into anything, I gotta shout out Dueling Guard. If you haven't heard of Dueling Guard, they're the best TCG accessory company on the market. They make the highest quality anime-inspired TCG accessories such as deck boxes, binders, and playmats, as well as sleeves now, which if you haven't tried those out, definitely go give those a chance. They're down in the description below. You can go to the link and find them on their website. I personally use them on all of my decks, and I can never go back to any other card sleeves. So if you want to try those out, go to the link in the description below. Use code TCG and get yourself a discount at checkout. Huh? You still aren't using Dueling Guard? Then you aren't using the best TCG accessories on the market. Dueling Guard makes the highest quality TCG deck boxes with the most stunning artwork I've ever seen. Their modular design allows for easy access to your decks and dice. They don't just make deck boxes, they also make the highest quality binders with side-loading pages to keep your expensive cards safe and protected. They also make high-quality playmats and now even sleeves. I personally use their sleeves on all of my cards and cannot go back to another sleeve after I've been using theirs. They are grippy and slick when you need them to be, and I have no doubts that my cards are protected in them. Gear up with Dueling Guard to protect your cards in style. Don't forget to use code TCG to get a discount at checkout. Alright, y'all, so without further ado, like I said, let's go ahead and jump into this. Let's take a look at the leaders first. So like I said, this comes with 3 different leaders. They're all dual color yellow leaders. So they all have yellow in them mixed with another color. We got a red yellow Sabo, a blue yellow Ace, and a black yellow Luffy. Now, are they all good? Yeah, I'd say they're all pretty good. The Luffy is definitely the strongest, and then I'd say the Ace comes next, and then the Sabo. That's just me personally. Maybe some other people have some different deck lists and different thoughts, opinions about that. That's just my personal opinion. But let's start off with the Sabo and his leader effect. So he's a 5k leader, 4 life, red, yellow, Dressrosa and Rev Army typing, so he can play some of those cool Rev Army cards. And he says, Dawn times 1, activate main once per turn. You may add one of your 3 or higher characters with 7,000 power or higher to the top of your life face up. Give up to one of your characters plus 2,000 power until the start of your next turn. So you get to heal after playing a card that has 7k power or more. And then you also get to give a buff to something else. So this combos really well with rush cards, you know, like your Rush Luffy. You drop a Rush Luffy, you use it, you play something else, and then you stack the Rush Luffy, give your other guy maybe a 2k buff like your Rush Ace, something like that. I know there's some cool combos you can do with these leaders, really cool life manipulation and playing around with a lot of the cards in this deck. This effect seems really good and definitely on paper, but I'd like to see it in action a little bit more. And if we look at topping deck lists and stuff like that, this one just doesn't have as much results. So the one with the most results, like I said, is the black yellow Luffy. That leader's pretty strong, and then I believe next is the Ace, followed by Sabo. So I think if we continue to get more good Rev Army support, this could get a little bit better. But for now, it's just okay. It's definitely a fun leader to play. You can do some cool stuff with it. And I do like the effect. I like the effect of all of these leaders. But just as a competitive standpoint, like I said, the Luffy is definitely your most competitive. You will be seeing that at regionals and big tournaments and your locals quite a bit. I could say that you'll see some of these other ones as well. Definitely more at your locals, maybe at big tournaments, but that black yellow Luffy I foresee topping big tournaments in the future. So next we got the Ace. So he's also a 5k leader with the Whitebeard Pirates typing, which is really, really cool because in 08 we have a bunch of new blue Whitebeard Pirates cards coming, and I do think that that's going to give this leader a big boost and push him to the next level. But for now, we kind of don't have those yet. We do get a new 5-cost blue ace in 07, and some other cards to think about when considering these decks is the black Sabo as well as the yellow ace that we get in 07. They're both secret rares and they're both extremely powerful, so definitely consider those as well when you're thinking about building one of these leaders. Yeah, this ace is gonna get a big boost when 08 rolls around. So let's go ahead and look at his effects. So it's Dawn ×2, activate main once per turn. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Already feeling kind of blue. Add up to 1 5-cost character card to the top of your life face up. Then place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. At the end of your turn, send all face-up cards in your life to the trash. So this really combos well with your little fellas, and we'll get into those here in just a minute, but I'll go ahead and explain their effects to you. They all have the same effect, just depending on which character it is. So activate main, you may trash this character, reveal the top card of your life. If it is the 5-cost Luffy Ace Sabo card, you may play it. So for this Sabo, it would be a 5-cost Sabo. Luffy would be Luffy, Ace would be Ace, you know what I'm saying. And if you play it, up to one of your leaders gets 2,000 power until the end of your opponent's turn. So these little fellas are really the key to these decks, and that's where this effect comes into play, because if you don't have one of those little fellas to bring that new card out of your life, it just goes to the trash anyway. So, I mean, theoretically, that's pretty good, you know, as long as you have the little fella to play the card off of your life. But if you don't, kind of just goes to your trash and feels like you wasted it. But I'd say you probably wouldn't trigger the leader effect if you don't have the setup ready. I do like this leader effect. I do think, like I said, once the blue Whitebeard Pirates come out, this is going to get a little bit better. We do have the 5-cost blue ace, which comes out in 07, and that card seems pretty good. And yeah, I mean, I like the ace. I think it's cool. I do like my blue-yellow decks. I am a queen player, but I guess we'll have to see how this one stacks up with the new Whitebeard cards. And then next, let's go ahead and look at the black-yellow Luffy finally. Like I said, this is definitely your most competitive one. It just lets you do some really absurd stuff, really because of Gecko Moria. Gecko Moria is a really, really strong card right now, and you definitely want to play 4 of it in this deck, as well as 4 of the 5-cost black Sabo. It just lets you do some really goofy stuff and get quite a bit of Dawn manipulation out of just 8 Dawn. So 5k leader, Monkey D. Luffy, Supernovas, and Straw Hat Crew typing, 4 life, black, yellow, and it says, per the rules, your face-up life cards will be sent to the bottom of your deck instead of to your hand. So if you have a face-up life card, you take a life, you do not get that life card, and it is not sent to your trash either. It's not banished. It goes to the bottom of your deck, which is very interesting how that works. But his real effect says, Dawn ×2, activate main. Once per turn, you may discard 1 card from your hand, and if you're at 0 life cards, you may add 2 5-cost characters from your hand or trash to your life face up. So, I mean, just by reading it, you can probably tell why this is the strongest. If you're at 0 life, you can basically just heal 2 for free. Like I said, those lives don't go to your hand, but that still puts your opponent on having to hit you 3 times instead of just the 1, which is pretty powerful. But where it really becomes broken is when you stack 2 of the 5-cost characters in your life. Then you play a Gecko Moria, bringing back 2 of the little characters that are respective to the ones that you put in your life, triggering both of them to bring those out of your life, and now you are a 9k leader that just got 2 really big bodies on field, 3 really big bodies on field. Really strong. Like I said, it pairs really well with the black 5-cost Sabo, because if you do 2 of those, you're a 9k leader with 2 blockers on field. Your whole board can't be destroyed, and you drew 4 and trashed 4, filling up your trash more with your good cards that you want to stack back in your life, as well as cycling out the 2ks in your hand to defend yourself more. That's really where this card becomes broken. That's kind of the combo and setup you're really looking for when playing this leader. But let's go ahead and talk about the rest of the cards that come in this deck and how they perform well with these leaders, which ones you're really going to be playing and looking after, stuff like that. Now, like I said, it's all yellow cards in here. And most of the cards in this deck really go well with each other and don't do too much for other strategies. However, there are a few exceptions. And one of those off the bat is going to be Edward Newgate. Gotta love Whitebeard cards. They're always really, really good. And this one's no exception. I think that this one's really strong for a couple different yellow decks. Personally, I like this card in Queen. I'm going to be testing that out. It's a 6-cost 7 with a 1,000 counter. And on play, you add the top card of your deck to the top of your life cards. Then you look at all your life cards and you place one of them back to the top of your deck, and you return all your life cards in any order. So not only do you get to rearrange your life completely, you get to put it in any order you want and remove one that's maybe a brick or a card that you want in your hand instead of your life. You get to stack all your triggers off of one card. If you're going second, you can play this on turn 3, establishing a 7k body and completely manipulating the rest of your life to go the way you want it. That's really, really strong. And of course, for these leaders, that's pretty good as well, because you can stack your top into the top of your life, use your little fellas, and then trigger them as well. This card's really, really good. I like it a lot. Next, we got Ivankov. You only get 2 copies of this in the deck, and it's a 3-cost 4 with a 1,000 counter. It's a blocker, and on play, you can trash the top or bottom card of your life, reveal a 5-cost character card from your hand, and then place it face down on the top of your life. So, let's say you know the contents of your life, and you trash the bottom card that you don't want in there. Let's say it's something for setup later, like one of the big fellas or something like that. And then you get to stack a new big fella that you have the little guy for already. You can then play the little guy, reveal the top card, play it, boost, yada yada. So this one pairs really well with the deck. They only gave you 2 of it though, so if you're wanting to play 4 of it, definitely recommend getting 2 of these structure decks. I always recommend getting 2 copies of a structure deck. However, I would definitely recommend not getting them online. Most online retailers are really charging a lot for them right now. If you haven't watched my Market Watch video from yesterday, definitely go check that out. I have a link to that in the description below, where we talk about the card prices and what you can do to try to get your hands on these decks that isn't for an outrageous price. But that being said, I always recommend picking up 2, because in this deck you get 4 different super rares, but they're split between 2 copies apiece, and you're going to want 4 of each of them if you're wanting to play some of these leaders. So definitely recommend grabbing 2 copies of the deck. Next, we got Curly to Dawn. You get 4 copies of this. It's a 5-cost 4k with a 1,000 counter. It's a blocker, and on play, you get to play up to 1 of each of a cost 2 Sabo, Ace, or Luffy from your hand. So if you have 1 of each of them, you could play 1 of each of them from your hand. That's really, really powerful play. However, triggering all 3 of them in sequential order with your life stacked, unless you've completely rearranged it and put all 3 of them there, that's probably not going to happen. But is it a decent card? Yeah, I think it's pretty okay. You get a blocker on the field, and you also get to play a 2-cost for free. Let's say you know the top life card is a Sabo. You play this one, bring out that card, or better yet, the Ace, and then you get Rush. That's pretty good. I think there's some other cool combos you can do with the Luffy. The Sabo's pretty good. You get to KO stuff with it. So, yeah, I like the Dedan. I don't see it in too many lists, but maybe I'm wrong about that. It's pretty decent, though. Next, we got the 2-cost Sabo, and this is definitely essential to this list. All of the 2-cost Luffy, Ace, and Sabo are essential to building these decks, and you definitely want 4 of each of them, and they gave you 4 of each of them in 1 copy. So out of the box, this deck does feel pretty decent. You know, they definitely gear these towards more you're a new player and you want to get into this game, buy this deck and you can have a deck that's semi-competitive. You know, you can maybe take it to your locals and do decent with it. It helps you learn the game as well. This is a great tool for teaching someone how the yellow life mechanic works and how its play style works. So Sabo, we already went over this effect. I'll read it again for you. They're all 2-cost 2Ks with a 1,000 counter, and they all have the same effect where you activate main, trash this character, reveal the top card of your life. If it's a 5-cost Sabo, Ace, or Luffy, respectively, you may play it. If you play it, up to 1 of your leaders gets plus 2k power until the end of your opponent's turn. So you get to trash it, play the big body from your top life card, and then your leader goes to 7k for the turn. Very, very strong. Definitely want to max out on each of these in your list for all of the leaders. Next, we got the 5-cost Sabo. Now, this is a 5-cost 6k with a 1,000 counter. On play, you may trash the top or bottom card of your life, and you get to KO one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. So, pretty good. I mean, you just bring this off of the little fella, and then you trash the top card, and you get to KO something. That's not bad. But that is a play where you're going down 2 life in 1 turn, so you have to be careful about that. I'd say that plays pretty damn good in the Luffy deck, because if you go down to 0, you can then just use the Luffy leader effect, go back up to 2, and you're feeling fine. So Sabo, I definitely like it. I like all of these fellas. I think they're all pretty good. Next, we got the 7-drop 7k Shanks. No counter, but it says on play, flip one of your life cards face down. If your opponent has 7 or more cards in their hand, send up to 1 card from the top of their life to their trash. So you get to put one of your life cards face down again. So in the Ace deck, that's pretty good. And same with the Luffy deck, you get to flip that life card back down. It will not go to the trash, and for the Ace, and it will not go to the bottom of the deck when you take it for Luffy. It's not bad. And then if your opponent has 7 or more cards, which a lot of decks do be keeping a lot of cards in their hands nowadays, so I kind of like this effect. You just get to trash a life from it. That's not bad at all, man. You just kind of have to hit those requirements. So if you can't flip a life card face down, you can't do the effect. So I guess that's the stipulation there. This card's okay. I definitely like 7-Mom a little bit more, but if you don't have 7-Mom, this might be 7-Mom at home. Next, we got the 2-cost Ace. Not really going to talk about this one. It just brings out Ace, and let's go ahead and talk about him because he's pretty damn good too. 5-cost 7k. On play, if you have 2 or less life, this character gains Rush. Very strong. You know, these leaders are all 4 life leaders, and using the little fellas, you can go down in life pretty fast. You know, you can take your life and get them out of your life quickly, and yeah, I mean, I like it. I think a 7k with Rush that you can just bring out for 2 Dawn is really, really strong. And yeah, I mean, this card's just good. Yellow has a decent generic Rush card now. You know, like the Katakuri that we had that has Rush is not bad. The Enel with Rush is not bad. But, I mean, for 5 Dawn, I think this one's a little bit better. You just have to be at that 2 life threshold. Next, we got Makino. This is going to be our first 2K in the list, and they did supply you with 8 2Ks in here, which I do like. It's a 1-cost, 0 power, counter 2000. On play, you may add the top or bottom card of your life to your hand, look at all your life cards, and return them in any order. So it's kind of like this Whitebeard where you get to rearrange them, but this one you are taking the life. The Whitebeard supplies you with a new life card and takes one of your life and puts them to the top of your deck. This one just kind of makes you take damage. But like I said, this is self-infliction, so you can definitely start off with this on your turn 1, do something else to take another one, and then you can drop that Ace down really fast. Definitely like it. Definitely a strong 2K. Definitely play it in the list. Next, we got the 1-cost 2K Garp, and it's got 1,000 counter. This is your searcher, so on play, you get to look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal a Sabo, Ace, or Luffy that's 5 or less, and put it into your hand. You put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Pretty damn good. I like it a lot. Just a good searcher that searches a majority of your deck and lets you kind of get the combo piece you need. Definitely feels good. They did this one right. Next, we got the 2-cost Luffy. Not going to talk about it. It just brings out your 5-cost Luffys, which we do get a really good yellow 5-cost Luffy in the 07 set. So definitely be on the lookout for that. That one's going to be going into, I'd say, every one of these leaders' decks. Definitely watch out for that one. But we do already have a 5-cost yellow Luffy, and that's this one. This one's pretty good. 5-cost 6k, 1,000 counter. Activate main. Once per turn, this character gets plus 2k until the start of your next turn. So just a nice boost. He just becomes 8k, so kind of hard to get rid of. Then if you have 1 or more life, you draw 1 and trash the top card of your life. So yes, he gets the boost, but it makes you get rid of a life. You do get to draw a card, but I'd say that this is pretty well when comboed with the Black Luffy. If you play this and you're at 1 life, and then you use the effect, draw a card, trash that life card, use your leader effect, put 2 back, play the little fellas, then you get to become 9k and bring out 2 big bodies. Pretty good. Or you can just leave them there and have healed 2 with this big 8k on field now. Not bad. Definitely enjoy it. I like how many counters there are on these cards. You know, we only have, the Shanks without a counter. So Shanks and Ace don't have counters. And then you have a couple events in here that don't have counters as well, of course. Well, they are counter events, but we'll get to those here in just a second. Next, we got the 5-cost 4K Yamato 2K counter. So a nice another 2K counter. And guess what? It's another rush card. They gave us 2 rush cards in this deck. I kind of like that. On play, look at all your life cards, place one of the cards on the top of your deck, then return your life cards in your desired order. So this is also, I guess, one of those life takers, if you will, but instead of trashing it or it going somewhere else, you get to put it on the top of your deck, so you'll draw it the next turn. That can definitely help you set up some of your combo pieces. Also lets you rearrange your life. So, I mean, let's say you looked at your life and you had Newgate, Ivankov, a little Sabo, and a big Sabo, and you took the little Sabo, put it on top of your deck, and left the big Sabo on the top of your life. Next turn, you draw the little Sabo, play it, bring out the big Sabo. Feels pretty good, and it has Rush. So I definitely like this card. They did this card right. I think it's pretty good. Yeah, definitely good. I mean, all the characters seem pretty good right now. Like I said, I guess my least favorite one is going to be that Shanks, just because it feels a little situational. But other than that, I mean, they all feel really good. You get 4 copies of a lot of them. The best ones, of course, you're only getting 2 copies of. However, if you get 2 copies of this deck, you will not be missing out on them. So next we have the 2-cost Flaming Dragon King event. And it's going to be Rev Army and Dressrosa typing, so definitely playable in that Sabo leader. You can add this off of some of your Rev Army searchers. Counter, give up to one of your leader or characters plus 4K power for this battle. Then look at all your life cards and return them in the desired order. That's very strong. A 4K buff, and then you get to rearrange your life cards. I mean, imagine doing this on turn 2. Like, it's just setting you up for the rest of the game. This is generic. I mean, you could play this in any deck. Any yellow deck can play this and just set their life up on turn 2, or before turn 2 even hits. Like, that sounds broken to me. I guess other yellow decks wouldn't really have a searcher for it or anything like that, so you kind of have to hard draw it, but that still seems pretty good. It also has the trigger, where you may add the top or bottom card of your life to your hand and place one card from your life, or from your hand, to the top of your life. So you get to swap out the top or bottom card of your life for a new one on trigger. That's pretty good. I like that. Next, we got Gum Gum Foot Pick, Gum Gum Jet Spear. It's a 1-cost counter, and it says give up to one of your leader or characters plus 2K power for the battle. Then, if your life is at 0, you draw a card. Definitely geared more towards the Luffy card. The Luffy leader, you know, you get to get that 2K boost. You get to draw a card as well. Not too bad. It is Punk Hazard and Straw Hat Crew typing, which is pretty interesting to me that Punk Hazard has typing. Maybe that's a hint for a future, but we'll never know until we get there. However, it being Straw Hat Crew is pretty good. You can definitely search it with some of your Straw Hat stuff, but I don't really know. I guess we have black Straw Hat stuff coming, but yeah, definitely played in the Luffy deck. I wouldn't say played in a competitive list, but if you're playing this out of the box, I would probably throw this in there. It also has a trigger where you may add the top card of your life. It has the same trigger as the last of it, so it lets you swap out a life card. And then finally, we have a 1-cost searching event, and this is a 4-of in the deck as well. So definitely really nice that they gave you a 4-of event to search with, as well as a 2-of Garp. If you get 2 of this deck, you get 4 Garp and 4 event, so you can definitely search for the pieces you need. It really helps you find your Luffy, Sabo, and Aces very, very well. Main, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal 1 5 or less Sabo, Ace, or Luffy, and put it into your hand. Then put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order, and it activates the card's main ability on trigger. So definitely a very good card. Lets you search for your Luffy, Ace, and Sabo combo pieces. Really like it. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole deck list. That's what you get in one of these decks. Like I said, you're missing a couple pieces, but if you pick up 2 of them, you'll be fine, and you could definitely play this at a more competitive level, swap out some of the cards for some of the others, stuff like that. And yeah, so do I think this deck is worth it? If you like the play style of these leaders and you like to play yellow, yes, I definitely think this deck is worth it. I really like the style of these ultra decks. You know, they give you all hollow cards. You get quite a good amount of good cards. However, this is where my personal opinion comes into play. The one reason I don't like these cards is because it feels like they revolve too heavy around playing these leaders. You could theoretically throw these little fellas into another leader. However, they really work best with the Three Brothers leaders. And that's kind of where I'm on the fence about these decks. You know, I definitely think that they're good and they're strong. If you're playing with the leader, definitely, yeah, it's worth it. But if you were going to pick up these yellow cards to maybe trying to put into a Nell or something like that, I probably wouldn't recommend that. I don't think that these would be too worth it or go too well in there. Maybe you can make it work if I'm just kind of shutting it down and somebody's been messing with it around and you have a deck list with a different leader that is playing some of these cards. Definitely let me know down in the comments below if you think my opinion's wrong about that. I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. You know, I guess the ace could really go well in an NL deck. You know, you're usually at 1 life in there. You can just play this and you have 2 or less life, just gain rush. But I mean, Katakuri, for instance, I probably would just stick to a Big Mom Pirates list instead of trying to play the Three Brothers list. You know, I think that these cards really limit themselves to the leaders, and maybe we'll see something that can play them a little bit better in the future. Vegapunk could be kind of cool playing around with this stuff, but I'm pretty sure that just stacks Vegapunk cards or Egghead cards. You know, I'm really trying to think of what you could do with this. Thinking about the rest of these leaders, yeah, Vegapunk only stacks Egghead cards. I guess this Linlin could be kind of cool playing around with some of these. Maybe Queen. I don't know. I just feel like they mesh the best with these leaders. And I guess when talking about the 3 captains deck, it felt like a lot of the cards in there could be played in a lot of different leaders decks. And they just felt a little bit more generic, you know, like you could play the 7-cost Kid in any purple deck. Like it felt good in almost every single purple deck. You could play the purple 4-cost Law Blocker in any purple deck. It felt good in any purple deck. Like, I cannot say the same for some of these other cards. Now, the red half of the 3 captains deck, don't really feel like a lot of the cards were super playable in other decks or just at all. You know, we had like the weird Rush Sanji. We had the Jinbei, which is a nice, good searchable 2K for the Straw Hat archetype. We had the 10-cost Rush Luffy. That one feels playable in like any red deck. However, it's just an okay card. Where, like I said, I just feel like a lot of the cards in this list really only work if you're playing the Three Brothers stuff. You know, like I guess some of these are a little generic, like this Yamato. The Makino's not too bad. The Newgate's pretty good. The Shanks, I guess, is a generic card as well. But like this Ivankov really revolves around 5 costs. This Dodon plays the Sabo Luffy and Aces. If you're playing any of the little fellas, you have to play the big ones. Yeah, I mean, the Garp only searches for that stuff. This only searches for those little fellas. Your events are a little more generic. I could definitely see this Flaming Dragon King played in some decks. This Straw Hat Gum Gum Foot Pick, I don't know too much. I don't think this one would see too much play, but is this worth it? Yes, I do think it's worth it if you're interested in playing these leaders. Now, is it worth it just to grab maybe a playset of Newgate to try in your Queen deck? No, I'd probably just grab the playset of Newgate online. You know, I do try to recommend everybody grabbing 2 copies of every starter deck that comes out, just so that you get your hands on some of these cards, because like I said, we never know. There could be another leader comes out that these cards fit really well in and isn't one from this structure deck. So I'm going to quit my yapping. That's kind of my spiel. I think it's worth it if you're interested in yellow and these leaders, but that's just my own opinion. I'd love to hear your opinion down in the comments below. Definitely make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Go check out Dueling Guard for the best TCG accessories on the market. Use code GumGumTCG at checkout, and I will see you all on the next one. Peace.